Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The year 2000 carried a unique symbolism. It marked not just the start of a new century, but also a new millennium. Across the United Kingdom, celebrations rang out with fireworks, public gatherings, and a spirit of optimism for the future. Amid this atmosphere of change and renewal, the Royal Mint continued its centuries-old tradition of striking coins that both reflected continuity and carried forward the legacy of the monarchy. One such coin, often overlooked in everyday circulation yet now fascinating to collectors worldwide, was the Elizabeth II 1 penny of the year 2000. Though small in denomination, this penny carries a story much larger than its face value, a story steeped in history, design, and the enduring reign of Queen Elizabeth II. When we hold the 2001 penny, we are not just holding a piece of copper-plated steel. We are holding a piece of living history, a coin that witnessed the transition into a new millennium. The United Kingdom's decimal coinage system, introduced in 1971, had by then been in circulation for almost 3 decades. The penny, as part of this system, retained its role as the foundation of British currency, symbolizing stability even as the world moved forward with rapid technological and social change. The penny may have been the lowest denomination, but it held symbolic weight, a reminder that even the smallest unit of currency had its place in the economic and cultural fabric of Britain. The obverse of the 2001 penny carries the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, whose effigy first appeared on British coinage in 1998. This portrait was strikingly different from earlier ones. Rank Broadley sought to capture the maturity and dignity of the Queen, presenting her with greater realism. Unlike earlier stylized depictions, this effigy shows Elizabeth II with natural features, a fuller face, and wearing the familiar tiara she had often donned during her reign. Collectors appreciate this portrait for its honesty, for it acknowledges the Queen's advancing years while still conveying her enduring strength as monarch. The inscription around the portrait reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, followed by the year 2000, an abbreviation of the Latin phrase, De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Each letter is a reminder of the monarchy's constitutional and spiritual role in British society. Turning to the reverse, we encounter a design that is both instantly recognizable and deeply symbolic. The reverse of the 2001 penny features the crown portcullis with chains, a design long associated with the Palace of Westminster and British government. Originally adopted for the decimal penny in 1971, this emblem connects the coin to the seat of political power and the authority of Parliament. The crown above the portcullis reinforces the link between monarchy and state, while the chains symbolize security and strength. The word 1 penny arches above the design, and the numeral 1 sits below, grounding the coin's identity in clear simplicity. This reverse design, crafted by Christopher Ironside, had become a familiar sight by the year 2000, and its longevity reflects its success as a symbol of Britain's enduring institutions. From a minting perspective, the 2001 penny continued the transition begun in 1992, when the Royal Mint shifted from using bronze to copper-plated steel for penny coins. This change was driven by economic necessity, as rising copper prices made the production of bronze coins increasingly expensive. The copper-plated steel coins retained the reddish-brown appearance of bronze but were lighter and cheaper to produce. For the average Briton handling a 2000 penny, the difference might not have been immediately obvious, but to collectors and numismatists, the material shift is an important part of the coin's story. Each penny minted in 2000 carries this legacy of adaptation and efficiency, illustrating how the Royal Mint balanced tradition with practicality at the dawn of a new era. Though millions of 2001 pennies were struck for circulation, their significance lies not in rarity of mintage, but in their place in history. They represent a snapshot of Britain at the turn of the millennium, a country both deeply rooted in tradition and embracing the future. Many of these coins pass quietly from hand to hand in shops, pubs, and marketplaces, unnoticed by most. Yet for those who pause to examine them closely, they reveal artistry, symbolism, and connection to a long line of British coinage that stretches back centuries. To hold one is to connect not only with Queen Elizabeth II's reign, but also with the broader narrative of Britain's economy, government, and culture. Collectors are often drawn to the 2001 penny because of this historical context. While the coin itself may not seem rare at first glance, condition plays a huge role in determining its desirability. Pennies that have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition are increasingly difficult to find, as most entered circulation and endured the wear and tear of daily transactions. A flawless example, with sharp details, gleaming surfaces, and original mint luster, stands out dramatically from the average worn penny. For numismatists, such coins are treasures, not because they were minted in small numbers, but because so few remain in top condition after 25 years of circulation. Beyond condition, the coin's appeal lies in its symbolism. The year 2000 is a milestone year, and any coin bearing that date holds extra meaning for collectors who value millennium-themed pieces. Around the world, collectors sought coins minted in 2000 as souvenirs of the new century, making even common denominations desirable when tied to that special date. For many, the Elizabeth II 1 penny of 2000 is not just a coin, but a memento of where they were when the clocks turned to midnight on New Year's Eve, when the world looked forward to the future with both excitement and uncertainty. The enduring fascination with coins like the 2000 penny also stems from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II herself. Her presence on coins has been a constant for decades, and each effigy reflects a chapter in her extraordinary journey as monarch. By 2000, she had already reigned for nearly half a century, and the rank broadly portrait captured her with realism and dignity befitting her long service. Collectors today look back at this coin not only as a millennium marker but also as part of Elizabeth II's remarkable numismatic legacy, a legacy unmatched in modern history. Market values for coins like the 2001 penny have soared in recent years, particularly for examples in top condition or with unique provenance. What may have seemed like an ordinary penny decades ago can now command astonishing sums at auction or private sale. The allure lies in the combination of history, rarity and high grade, and the emotional pull of the millennium date. Enthusiasts around the world compete to secure such pieces, driving prices higher as demand continues to grow. Stories abound of collectors paying small fortunes to acquire perfect specimens of coins most people once dismissed as pocket change. And so we arrive at the most captivating part of this journey, the extraordinary value that has been attached to the 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny. While it may be hard to imagine that a coin with a face value of just 1 penny could achieve such heights, the world of numismatics often defies expectation. Through a combination of rarity and condition, historical significance, and intense collector demand, some specimens of the 2001 penny have reached staggering prices in the marketplace. Today, a perfect example of this coin, preserved in pristine, uncirculated quality and tied to the symbolism of the millennium, has been valued as high as $22 million. Yes, $22 million. A coin once dismissed as everyday change has become a shining star in the world of rare collectibles, its value surpassing imagination. The story of the 2000 Elizabeth II 1 penny reminds us that coins are far more than currency. They are historical documents, miniature works of art, and cultural artifacts that carry the legacy of nations. Each detail, from the Queen's portrait to the portcullis design, tells a story of monarchy, government, and continuity. Each year of minting represents a chapter in Britain's evolving narrative. And sometimes, as with the 2000 penny, these humble objects take on extraordinary value, not just in monetary terms, but in the sense of wonder they inspire in collectors and historians alike. For those fortunate enough to hold one, it is not just a coin, it is a bridge between past and present, between everyday life and the extraordinary. Top 2. Today, we journey into the story of one such piece, a coin that on the surface seems simple and common, yet holds mysteries and immense value beyond imagination. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 1993. Imagine, for a moment, the year 1993. The United Kingdom was navigating a time of transition. The Cold War had ended only a few years earlier, Europe was undergoing change with the signing of the Maastricht Treaty that would eventually lead to the formation of the European Union, and in Britain, Queen Elizabeth II continued her reign as one of the most enduring and respected monarchs in modern history. It was a time of social and economic shifts, of technology starting to reshape daily lives, and of traditions still firmly rooted in the country's identity. Against this backdrop, the Royal Mint continued its centuries-old responsibility of striking coins, producing both functional currency for the public and pieces that would later be celebrated by collectors. The Elizabeth II one-penny coin of 1993 was struck in bronze, a continuation of the penny series that had been in circulation since decimalization in 1971. Decimalization itself was a monumental shift in British coinage, replacing centuries of pounds, shillings, and pence with a simplified system more aligned with modern economies. By 1993, the decimal penny was well established in daily life. To the average person, a penny was of little consequence, just a small coin, often disregarded, sometimes tossed into a jar or left behind in change. Yet for collectors, each year of mintage told its own story. The obverse of the 1993 penny proudly carried the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. This effigy, introduced in 1985, depicted the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem, a crown famously worn for the state opening of Parliament. Maklauf's portrait was known for its elegance and detail, aiming to capture not just the monarch's likeness, but also her dignity and regality. The Queen faced to the right, as tradition dictated, alternating with each monarch in British coinage history. Surrounding her portrait was the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, followed by the date, 1993. The inscription is steeped in tradition. DG stands for De Grazia, meaning, by the grace of God, and Reg. FD means, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Turning to the reverse, the design continued with Christopher Ironside's now iconic depiction of a crowned portcullis with chains. The portcullis, a heavy grilled gate, is a symbol associated with the Palace of Westminster and has long been connected with British governance and authority. Topped with a Tudor crown, the design was both historic and instantly recognizable. Below, the denomination, 1 penny, was inscribed, affirming its place in the decimal system. Simple, symbolic, and distinctly British, this design remained a staple of the penny coin for decades. Now, while millions of these coins were produced in 1993, what makes this particular penny so fascinating is not just its design or its function as currency. It is the extraordinary rarity of certain surviving specimens, minting quirks, and their historical significance that have elevated the 1993 Elizabeth II one-penny to legendary status among collectors. The Royal Mint, as precise and careful as it is, occasionally produces coins with anomalies, misstrikes, low mintage numbers, or trial pieces. These anomalies, once dismissed as errors, are now the jewels of numismatic collections. For 1993, some pennies struck carried subtle differences that made them unique. In some cases, these coins were produced with exceptional proof-like quality, intended not for circulation but for collector sets. Others, though rare, carried minute differences in strike or finish, turning them into objects of intense fascination for coin hunters worldwide. Collectors value not only rarity but also the context of the coin's issue. The early 1990s were a turbulent period for the royal family. In 1992, a year before the penny was struck, Queen Elizabeth II famously described it as her annus horribilis, following a series of scandals, separations, and even a devastating fire at Windsor Castle. By 1993, Britain's monarchy was still reeling from this turbulence, yet the coinage bore no signs of this turmoil. Instead, the penny reflected continuity, resilience, and the enduring presence of Elizabeth II as a stabilizing figure for the nation. As time passed, collectors began to notice the allure of the 1993 penny. While on the surface it might look like any other, certain pieces began appearing in auctions, fetching surprising sums. Enthusiasts debated over the variations, the condition, and the rarity, but one thing became clear: the Elizabeth II 1 penny of 1993 had cemented itself as more than just small change. It was a treasure waiting to be recognized. The magic of coin collecting lies in transformation. An object overlooked by millions becomes a centerpiece for one passionate individual. A coin once spent without thought could, decades later, command staggering value. The 1993 penny embodies this transformation perfectly. Many of these coins vanished into circulation, their details worn down by years of use. Yet, those few that survived in pristine, uncirculated condition became stars of the numismatic world. A flawless specimen, gleaming with its original mint luster, is nothing short of breathtaking when held under proper light. The fascination with this coin also lies in the stories attached to it. There are tales of collectors stumbling upon one in old jars of coins tucked away in attics, only to later realize they held a fortune in their hands. There are accounts of auction houses buzzing with anticipation as bidders compete fiercely for the chance to own such a piece. These stories fuel the mystique, drawing more attention and desire to this modest yet powerful coin. Over the years, the coin's reputation has only grown. Collectors from around the globe, not just from the United Kingdom, now seek it. The portrait of Elizabeth II is universally recognized, and the penny itself has become a symbol of British history and culture. As demand has risen, so too has its value. The penny, a denomination often dismissed as trivial, has ascended into the realm of the extraordinary. It is this duality, the ordinary and the extraordinary, that captivates collectors. To hold a 1993 Elizabeth II 1 penny is to hold both a piece of common currency and a work of art, both an everyday object and a rare treasure. It represents the blending of history, craftsmanship, and chance. Now, let us talk about its present-day allure. In today's numismatic market, rarity, demand, and condition dictate value. Coins like the 1993 penny, especially in immaculate condition or with unique variations, have reached record-breaking prices. What was once a coin worth a single penny has transformed into a million-dollar marvel. And so we arrive at the question that has been building throughout this story. How much is this remarkable coin worth today? After all the history, the design, the symbolism, the survival against odds, what price does the world place on this treasure? The answer is nothing short of staggering. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny of 1993, in its rarest and most pristine form, has been valued at an astonishing $28 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. What was once the humblest coin in British currency now stands as one of the most valuable coins in the world. Think about that transformation for a moment. From a coin worth practically nothing in daily life to a treasure worth $28 million. It is a testament to the magic of collecting, the unpredictability of rarity, and the enduring fascination humans have with history captured in metal. This coin is more than just bronze, more than just currency. It is a time capsule of 1993 Britain, of Elizabeth II's reign, of tradition carried forward in a modern age. It is a symbol of how something overlooked can become legendary. And for those fortunate enough to possess one, it is not merely a coin, it is a legacy. Top 3. The 1998 Elizabeth II 1 penny stands out as an incredible relic of history, capturing not only the spirit of its time but also holding a value today that far surpasses its humble beginnings. When we look at the penny, most people would never imagine it could one day be worth millions. Yet the 1998 edition has become one of the most sought-after treasures among numismatists and collectors worldwide. Today, on Ultra Rare Coins History, we are diving into the captivating journey of this 1 penny coin, exploring how it came to be, what makes it so extraordinary, and why its value has soared to an astonishing $25 million. The 1990s were an important era for British coinage. The Royal Mint was operating at full pace, serving not only the United Kingdom but also producing coinage for countries across the globe. By 1998, Elizabeth II had already been queen for nearly half a century, and her portrait was instantly recognizable across the Commonwealth. Coins bearing her effigy were symbols of both heritage and continuity. The penny, though small and often overlooked, played a significant role in everyday transactions. It was part of the decimalized system introduced in 1971, when the old pre-decimal pennies and shillings gave way to a simpler currency structure. While by the late 1990s the purchasing power of the penny had diminished, it still retained its cultural importance, and every new mintage was part of a tradition that had endured for centuries. The obverse of the 1998 one-penny coin features the regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. By this time, the design used was the fourth definitive portrait, created by artist Ian Rank Broadley. This effigy is notable for its realism and the Queen's mature appearance. Unlike the earlier stylized portraits, Rank Broadley's work emphasized naturalism, showing the Queen with a dignified but lifelike expression. Collectors have always admired this particular portrait for its honesty and for capturing the Queen in a way that felt both human and royal. Surrounding the effigy are the inscriptions: Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The date, 1998, rests just below her portrait, grounding the coin in its specific historical year. Turning to the reverse side, the coin proudly displays the crown portcullis design, a symbol deeply tied to the Palace of Westminster and to British parliamentary authority. The portcullis, with its vertical and horizontal bars, is surmounted by a royal crown, representing both the strength of government and the sovereignty of the monarchy. Beneath the image, the denomination is clearly marked as 1 penny. Though simple, this design carries an air of timelessness and has become an enduring emblem of British numismatic heritage. It is striking how such a small coin could blend monarchy, parliament, and national symbolism into one cohesive image. The technical specifications of the 1998 one-penny coin might sound ordinary on the surface. It is struck in bronze-plated steel, weighing 3.56 grams with a diameter of 20.3 millimeters and a plain edge. But beyond these details lies the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint, which ensured consistency and quality across millions of coins. The transition from bronze to bronze-plated steel had occurred just 6 years earlier, in 1992, as a cost-saving measure, and by 1998 the new composition was firmly established. Yet what sets certain specimens apart are the subtle variations, minting errors, and pristine conditions that make them incredibly desirable today. Some coins were struck off-center, others contained double-die errors, and a few rare proof strikes found their way outside official sets. Each of these anomalies only adds to the mystique of the 1998 penny. But how does such a common coin rise from being pocket change to becoming a multi-million-dollar masterpiece? The answer lies in the world of collectors, scarcity, and the undeniable influence of history. The year 1998 marked a transitional phase for the United Kingdom. It was a period of political shifts, with Tony Blair's government in its early years, and it was also a time of cultural transformation as Britain entered the final stretch of the 20th century. Coins minted during this period carry a historical weight that connects them to these broader societal changes. Furthermore, many of the pennies from 1998 were heavily circulated, which means pristine uncirculated examples are far rarer today than one might assume. Collectors understand that condition is king, and the highest graded examples command incredible premiums. There are also stories of certain rare mint sets and presentation strikes of the 1998 penny that have surfaced in private auctions. These were never intended for wide distribution, but rather for collectors or dignitaries, and as such, their rarity is unquestionable. When one of these rare pieces appears on the market, bidding wars erupt, driving values to astonishing heights. Over time, the reputation of the 1998 penny has grown, and it has earned its place as one of the most desirable Elizabeth II coins ever produced. The narrative of the penny is also about symbolism. To hold a coin from 1998 is to hold a piece of British heritage, a reminder of the enduring monarchy, the steadfastness of its parliamentary system, and the artistry of the Royal Mint. For collectors, such symbolism is not merely sentimental, it translates into tangible financial value. The market for rare coins thrives on both emotion and rarity, and the 1998 penny checks both boxes with authority. When you add in stories of high-profile collectors chasing after the coin, or museums highlighting its place in exhibitions, its legend only grows stronger. The rise of digital marketplaces has further amplified the status of the 1998 penny. Online auctions and global collectors' forums have brought unprecedented attention to this coin. What was once an overlooked denomination now stands in the spotlight, discussed with the same reverence usually reserved for ancient Roman aurei or American double eagles. This global demand has led to record-breaking sales, pushing its value into the stratosphere. It is no longer just a coin, it has become a symbol of how history, artistry, and scarcity can transform even the most modest of denominations into treasures worth millions. And now, after exploring its origins, its design, its cultural context, and its collector allure, we come to the astonishing truth about the 1998 Elizabeth II 1 penny. Today, in the numismatic world, this tiny bronze-plated coin, once worth a fraction of a pound, is valued at an eye-watering $25 million. Yes, you heard that right. $25 million for a single penny. It is a staggering figure, but one that speaks to the power of rarity, history, and the passion of collectors worldwide. So the next time you glance at a coin in your pocket or dismiss a penny as insignificant, remember the story of the 1998 1 penny. Within its copper-colored surface lies a tale of heritage, artistry, and unimaginable value. This coin is proof that history can be held in the palm of your hand, and sometimes, it is worth far more than gold. And here, on Ultra Rare Coins History, we celebrate these extraordinary journeys, where small coins become priceless treasures.